But I also remember, like, when you started your doctoral program, you were already a mother and also have
Hmm.
a full-time job.
Yes. Oh, yes.
How does that factor in, like, when you are making decision for having, like, 3 things, managing 3 things: full-time job,
Yeah.
being a parent, and also, being a full-time student?
That's a great question. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Well, there's actually I've thought about this off and on throughout my journey. One, do I do this now while I have right now I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. So 8th grade and 5th grader at the time.
Mhm.
That would have made them
5th grade.
5th and like 2nd graders, which is really important in their formative time.
Yeah.
And actually, I will tie this into part of my goals for why even going through this and getting a doctorate to begin with. I think it was also for something for them to see me and watch me experience. A lot of times we do all of our schooling before we have children. And
Mhm.
I had done my master's before I had them. I had, obviously, most of us do our college experience before having our children. And I think a lot of it was them being able to watch me go through this journey and see the ups, the downs, the good and the bad, where the work was hard, where it took me doing the difficult work. I wanted to I think part of me as a
A role
mom,
model,
yeah, I
like that.
wanted them to experience it with me. It was so important for them to be at my dissertation defense
Yes.
and be able to, now in their mind, they thought I was going to walk into this big arena where I was like going to give a TED talk or something. But, when I do remember leaving, and I'm sure we'll talk about the defense a little bit.
Mm.
But I do remember, even forget which child it was, like just making a comment about like, that was a really small room.
Small low-key
Yes.
event.
So, to answer your question, doing it while also being a mother, I think that, and I have learned so much from my cohort mates too, that we were all very similar in the demands on our life, whether we had children or not. Some of us were, caring for others in our family,
Mhm.
and we're all in a more progressive adult phase of our life to where we
Right.
are balancing a lot. So for me, it was obviously having 2 children. Some of my cohort mates, their children were grown and gone, and maybe that was why they chose to begin the journey now.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't want to put it off to after my children were gone because I didn't want to miss out on opportunities that I
Mhm.
could do while balancing a life with being a mother too. For me, I've always been a career mother. I stayed home when they were teeny tiny babies when I first had them for the first, few months of their life, but I have always enjoyed my career as well. And I think it's
Right.
important that women get to do both,
Yeah.
that men get to do both, that all of us get to do both. So I think for me, investing in myself so that I could, be what
Mhm.
they need me to be as well. And I will also say, I co-parent. I am divorced from their father, but we co-parent very well. We live
Okay.
literally 3 miles apart from each other.
Mhm.
I only have them half the time, quote unquote, which is not really, it's just kind of an ongoing thing, but that also helped support me. So, times that they were with their dad were more the times I focused on my doctoral
Mhm.
work. And then when they were with me, I would just try to be as present as I could when they were with me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, Thinking about some challenges in doctoral program, how do you look at, like, some of the challenges that you experienced as a doctoral student in this journey? Like, it could be anything. It
Hmm.
could be like maybe related to coursework, maybe related to, you already discussed about being a mom and being full-time job and being a full-time student, and how you how it might sometimes
Hmm.
make it challenging, uh, but other than that, what were some other challenges in the program that you experienced? And
So, I don't know if the program itself had challenges it's just the nature of the beast, really. I mean,
Mhm.
doing this work is no easy feat. I think it was maybe the time management of the nature of my job has very busy seasons and then other seasons that were not busy. The
Like the
cav
school job as a
Correct, yep.
assistant
Being
principal.
a school administrator, yes,
Yeah.
and doing that, and at very large schools. High schools are very busy, a lot of outside school
Mm.
activity, a lot of outside work, events and things like that. So, I think that it was the logistics maybe was probably some of the more difficult, the time management.
Mhm.
I'm a pretty solid planner in general. I'm pretty organized. I have learned to let go a little bit of some of those strengths. We will call them
Mhm.
strengths. uh, that because those strengths very easily become a weakness when I'm so tied to my timelines and my schedules that when life does
Mhm.
happen or something happens at school, work school, that you have to be flexible. You have to be able to let go of what you didn't get accomplished that day, that
Yeah.
week. So I would say that that was something that really learning how to time manage. And then, and that took a couple semesters in for me to feel like I had it under
Uh-huh.
control. Um, and then the
I want to
evenings
talk
were,
about
yeah, the evenings were tough sometimes too. Just,
right, yeah.
obviously we work all day. So having to
Right.
keep your brain going and whatnot. Yeah.
I want to talk about I'm getting curious about you like when you're talking about challenges. When I was a doc student, for me, since I did not have like so many responsibilities, I was a full-time student only.
Mm,
So
lucky.
one thing was like the feedback process, when I used to get a lot of feedback, and English is not my first language,
Hmm.
so my writing was not like a very good, I was not very strong in that area. And getting a lot of feedback, I think that was a bit challenging for me.
Hmm.
Uh, Not about the feedback, but processing feedback. For me, it was like, like when somebody gives you feedback, you may interpret it like something is wrong with you,
Hmm.
like it's about your individuality,
Yeah.
like you can take it personally
Yeah.
rather than taking it like, no, it's about the task, not about me.
Hmm.
And I sort of mixed it, so I
Yeah.
had a hard time processing that. One challenge, but obviously revisions, and you do it
Hmm.
more and more, you get better at it. And the reason why I'm bringing it, because oftentimes doc student may get overwhelmed
Hmm.
with the idea of feedback,
Hmm.
revisions, multiple revisions. So that's the reason I'm curious about your experience about this
So that's
iterative process.
yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. And so for me, and this was going to be my next challenge was, and I think throughout our conversation, I will probably bring this up a couple times, is that I was so, my efficacy with my writing, with my academic writing,
Hmm.
was so low when I was so intimidated. I remember when I first started this program and just sitting in, maybe the first few weeks of classes and just learning your peers and, just hearing all of this wealth of experience that even the people in the room with you brought to the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously being in front of professors that their entire role and purpose is revolving around this program that is designed around
Hmm.
writing and academic writing. And I felt so inferior. I felt so, there's definite imposter syndrome happening.
Hmm.
And I thought for a couple times that that would be what made her like a make or break situation. One of the
Yeah.
challenges was maybe not as much with the feedback, because I actually love feedback. And
Hmm.
there's nothing more frustrating than actually putting a lot of effort or energy into something, an artifact, and not
Hmm.
getting feedback on it.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the feedback, positive or negative.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, we all thrive on the stuff that we do well, but it was not so much as that. It was just the inferior feelings that I had with the academic writing and in general,
Hmm.
because academic writing is different than
Different than normal writing
and
we do.
other
Yeah.
communication. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I didn't know that I had the caliber of experience
Hmm.
that, who am I sitting here pretending like I know what I'm writing about in this style,
Hmm.
in this sense, APA format. So, yeah, that was a definite challenge to me. But honestly, the professors that we have in our program made it so safe, I think,
Mhm,
is probably a good word to use.
mhm.
That I know for myself personally, I wanted to be challenged, but I didn't want to be intimidated and felt
Yeah.
like what I was doing wasn't good enough to be sitting in the seat that I was filling in that room every Tuesday
Right.
and Saturday or Thursday and Saturday. So I think that that would be a good way that I would explain it, that the challenge was definitely the writing, not so much the
Mhm.
feedback on the writing, but just doing and turning in something and feeling that it was just going to be like, yeah, thanks, try again.
Yeah, I mean,
She's cute. Yeah, let's not, no. She thinks this was
yeah,
good.
yeah, I had that experiences too.